Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Emmy the Cat Lady, and you join me here in the Commonwealth. So, I've got a couple of kind of smaller unmarked locations I want to explore today. So, the first one is called Plumber's Secret, which is this kind of sort of warehouse looking place. So, where we're located is in the Cambridge area, so directly north of Kendal Hospital, near Watts Consumer Electronics, and to the southeast of Mass Gravel and Sand. We can find this location here. There's two doors. So, yeah, so it's a pre-war plumbing store. As you can tell, we've got some various kind of plumbing bits and pieces. Currently, it is owned by two radroaches. They have laid out some bottle cap mines, so do watch your step. But there is a few bits and pieces to loot, including there's a safe and a toolbox and whatnot. We've got urinals, showers, toilets. A wee bit worse for wear, but never mind. Creepy mannequin holding a plunger. Don't worry, that'll be relevant later. Yeah, so most of the usual kind of stuff that you would expect to find in these kind of abandoned stores and things. So if you're looking for specific bits of scrap, apparently there's plasma cartridges in the till there. I think that's because this character has that perk that lets you find more ammo in containers. I'm pretty sure that's why. Yeah, we've got some wooden blocks. There's a safe to unlock and all that kind of thing. The usual kind of stuff. That's another way out. There's literally like 4 different doors to get into this place. But if we go through into the back here, we've got this kind of workshop and storage area up. There's one of the resident radroaches. So yeah, there's basically a secret hidden in this place. Ah, there it is. Took me a little while to catch that. I should have put the Pip-Boy light on, it would have been easier to see. So yeah, if we come up into the kind of warehouse bit where the radroaches are hanging out, we come up here, we've got this line of plungers across the ceiling, and then there's a board, so there's actually a little secret there. You don't need to, use the plungers to climb up or use a jetpack. You can just shoot the boards down and then it'll fall to the ground. So what we've got there is there's a short syringer rifle and a cap stash, and I've knocked some of the plungers down as well, but yeah. Took me a while to see that. I should have put the light on. That that would have been the smart thing to do, but here we are. So yeah, that's Plumber's Secret. It does seem to be a reference. There's an unmarked location in Fallout 3 where there's a path that leads up to the ceiling built by plungers, so obviously the developers have a lot of fun putting things like that in the game. But yeah, very interesting. So we're going to head to the next location. Right, so for this next location, it's near Bunker Hill, so I've just fast travelled to Cabot House, and then we need to cross this bridge here. And then we turn right. Take the first left. Be that one there. Yeah, there we go. So this is the house that we're looking for. This is an abandoned house in the Charlestown area, I believe. Kind of referred to. I've got a couple of deceased ghouls. And a couple that are slightly less deceased. There we go. Goodbye. Oh, we've got a couple of skeletons who passed away cuddling on the couch. Tragic, really. And some fun Halloween decorations. So yeah, this house has got all the Halloween decorations, which is interesting when we look at the story of this place. So we're going to head inside here. So from the outside it looks like a fairly unassuming family home, but on the inside we can see there's a lot of glowing green stuff and there's a lot of fungus. We've got some ghoul friends. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so there's some ghouls and dead ghouls, fungus. All very well and good. So there is a couple of recordings, so I'm going to just collect them and then we'll get into what they are later. So this place does hide quite a dark secret. And it's basically where a woman named Peters, she was a research assistant, and she was testing a new radiation treatment known as serum sample 42-BA-7. So she gradually exposed herself to 6 sieverts of radiation. There's an overdue book here as well, but just to be clear for reference, that NASA's maximum dose for astronauts over their entire career, so cumulative over their entire career as an astronaut, is 1 sievert. That's that lifetime dose for people that go to space. And she was exposing herself to 6 times that dose of radiation. Generally, beyond 4 or 5 is considered a lethal dose. And then she was to apply the serum to restore her body. That was the goal. So yeah, place is in quite a bit of disrepair, as you can see. Even Jangles the moon monkey looks quite sad. So yeah, but it is worth noting that we definitely seem to have evidence that a child lived here at one point. We've got a Red Rocket poster, and a Coca-Cola poster, Captain Cosmos posters, some toys, obviously Jangles the moon monkey, which is a bit of a concern. And then if we come upstairs to some Radaway, that's optimistic. We do have this locked door. Come on. There we go.
Yes.
Oh, we've got the Todd Howard painting. Creepy mannequin, and there's a bloated glowing one. I'm just going to take this one out because the noises they make are really creepy and I don't want to listen to that. I've got Mr. Handy Fuel, so yeah, we've got a creepy mannequin, which I don't like, and then the final recording. And all the rest of this is the usual kind of stuff that you'd expect to find in a house. We've got more toys, we've got some vases, steamer trunk. Yeah, some cotton yarn, all that fun stuff. So yeah, what exactly happened here? Well, like any good scientist, research assistant Peters did log her experiences, and we can find the 3 holotapes that kind of document exactly what happened. So first one we found in the kitchen, the second one on the dresser on the second floor, and then obviously the third one up here where this glowing one is located. So let's have a listen to them. And I find them in the huge list of miscellaneous things. But yeah, we don't have far to look because they are at least undersea. So this is recording number 1.
Entry 3, recorded by Research Assistant Peters on February 26, 2077. Time, it's 12:35 hours. Subject's direct radiation exposure level increased to 2 sieverts per 24 hours. Intravenous fluid intake increased to 1 liter. Subject reports localized pain in frontal and parietal lobe, accompanied by severe nausea, with vomiting on average 3 to 6 instances per 12 hours. Solid food no longer viable by oral intake. Other symptoms include general weakness in limbs, bleeding of gums, severe abdominal cramps, and diarrhea. Dark stool indicates possibility of intestinal bleeding. Shortness of breath also an issue. I will now describe changes in mood, or thought process. I have never in my life felt as horrible as I do right now. The discomfort is almost too much to bear. I often contemplate termination of this trial. But I know it'll only be a few more days before I reach 6 sieverts. Then I can administer the serum. We'll get our contract renewed. The serum will go to the market, and it's going to help people It's really going to change the way we live. And me, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Cyclical thoughts. No other developments to report.
Yeah, so she's on day 3 of the trial and she's not having a good time. It's pretty clear that she's having a bad time with the symptoms and all the things she described as typical severe radiation poisoning symptoms, radiation targets areas in the body where the cells are rapidly dividing, which means things like the gut. It can impact your kind of respiratory function. She's on IV fluids as well. She can't eat solid food anymore. So, and she is already contemplating giving up on this, but she's going to push through despite the discomfort, as she says. So she's really quite suffering, considering this is only 3 days into the trial. So we'll have a listen to the next one.
Entry 6, R.A. Peters. It's March 1st. The subject has reached saturation threshold safely. Taking measurement now. Confirm 6 sieverts. Rapid fluid loss due to fever. Up to IV intake. All previous symptoms are still present. Tissue damage visible on arms, neck and hands. Necrotic sloughing of the skin. Topical and ingested antibiotics applied to control infection. Now injecting first dose of serum sample 42BA7 into bloodstream. No immediate effects observed. Animal trials yielded results in less than...
Yeah, she's not doing well. She's really not doing well listening to that, and they have gone through animal trials before starting human trials, which is kind of standard, but 6 sieverts is a massive dose of radiation. She can't keep anything down. She's losing fluid because of the fever, because of infection. So the radiation is now starting to target her immune system. And she's getting necrosis, so losing integrity of her skin and everything. And then she couldn't even finish the log, which is indicates how bad she's really feeling with all of this. And she's injected the serum and it's like, well, it's not really doing anything. So we'll listen to the final recording.
Second dose of sample 42BA7, injected hours ago. No effect. No effect. I contacted the lab to terminate this trial, but I need a doctor. Hang on. What's that? Oh, my teeth. Oh, several teeth dislodged. Feels like necrotic tissue damage throughout oral cavity. Serum is ineffective at toxic levels. Request to terminate trial was... Orders are to remain in quarantine for the duration of the experimental period. I understand. I'm going to die. That's obvious. It's right here. Our failure. If you would, Dr. Roberts, please deliver the following to my family. Mom, Dad, I love you. Yes, I volunteered for this. It sounds crazy, but I believed in it. There'll be nothing left worth bearing. Just know I... Oh, no. That's a bit too sentimental. Let me think about it.
Yeah, so she's asked for the trial to be ended and they've been told that she has to stay in quarantine. She would be extremely radioactive, to be fair, but basically, she had IV fluids and antibiotics and whatnot, but with the serum that was being tested, not effective. She really could have done with some Radaway, but they didn't give that to her, and she's kind of like, well, they're leaving me here to die. I believed in what I was doing, but it wasn't enough, and she's kind of accepted that her death is inevitable, and she couldn't even finish kind of the final thoughts she wanted for her family. So it was really quite a tragic story, and given that this was locked, there is a possibility. Like, she maybe thought she was going to die, maybe she did die, but it seems more likely, given that it was locked in here with this glowing one, that she probably became a ghoul, and it's probable that this glowing one is Research Assistant Peters. She's one of the rare people who may have become a ghoul before the bombs fell, as the recordings were dated in February to March 2077, which is more than 6 months before the bombs fell. So it's possible that she went through that change early, but nobody knew because she was locked up here in quarantine that whole time, and then she was basically forgotten about, potentially. Maybe they locked her up for safety by her supervisor. And as we noticed downstairs, there's definitely a bedroom that looked like it was set up as a child's bedroom, and then we've got a kind of adult bedroom, a double bed in there as well. So did she have kids? Did she have a family? Was this her house, or was it one that was just kind of bought and used to quarantine her for this test? Because if you're testing, if you're messing with radiation, it needs to be kept isolated. It's not something that I have a lot of experience with, but I do know that one of the kind of most effective treatments for hyperthyroidism in cats, so that's where they have an overactive thyroid, is radioactive I-131, so iodine that's radioactive, because the thyroid, the only thing that iodine's used for in the body is to make thyroid hormones. So all that radioactive iodine would go to the thyroid and kill off the cancer cells, because hyperthyroidism in cats is caused by a benign tumour, usually benign. Sometimes you get a malignant version, a thyroid carcinoma. But in cats, it's normally a thyroid adenoma, so it's not a malignant tumour, but it sits and produces too much thyroid hormone. But it would take up the radioactive iodine, which would stop the cancer cells from multiplying, and thus would treat the hyperthyroidism. So it's a very effective treatment, but for cats, they need to be okay to be in a isolation for a few days. I think it's normally at least kind of 5 days, if I remember rightly. The protocol might be different. I say it's been a while since I've kind of dealt with any of those cases, but it is something, that they have to be kept isolated, and their waste and things has to be disposed of safely as well, because the animal's going to be radioactive for a little while after receiving that treatment. That's kind of the point. So it's probably the same thing for her. We've got a door here that's blocked off. It probably just leads out to the back of the house. But you know, did if this is her house, did she have a family here? What happened to them? We don't really know. It's quite a tragic story. Obviously the experimental serum that they created just didn't work. So she was left to die basically, because she would have been too dangerous to approach. I mean, 6 sieverts is a huge dose of radiation, so it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if that was enough for her to then become a glowing one. Um, yeah, and unfortunately, that is the case, that some people do give their lives in the name of science and progress. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it's certainly something that happened. And the way medical research is carried out now compared to the way it was done previously, it's a very interesting topic actually. But sometimes it can be quite harrowing knowing what some people went through for in order for progress to happen when it comes to science and medicine, especially. That's a very dramatic pose there. Well, okay. Yeah, so that was Research Assistant Peters. I say we don't really know exactly who she was working for, but given her location, she's pretty close to where there's a lot of universities, CIT, which obviously isn't there anymore in this save file. because we destroyed the institute. You know, there's a lot of universities in this area that she could have been working for, as well as hospitals and things. But it's just another one of these tragic stories where people have, um, given their lives and put themselves through something horrible for the sake of science and potentially helping people. And medical research is, it's not always pretty, but it is kind of a shame that when the serum didn't work, that there was no consideration to getting this poor woman some medical attention. Maybe if she had been seen by a doctor and got some Radaway in her or something, she might have been okay. Maybe not. But I'd certainly think that the girl that's there, it makes the most sense that that's her. And she ended up becoming the glowing one, being locked up in that room with the recordings that had been left. That it kind of makes sense. I think we're supposed to kind of infer that, but either way, quite a tragedy, I think. And it's, very interesting little story that's just tucked away in a corner here. There's not really anything else of much interest in this little, I don't know, can you even call it a cul-de-sac or little kind of alleyway that's here. It's near the USS Constitution, I think. Isn't too far away. And yeah, Bunker Hill. So it's something that's easily missed, I think, but definitely worth a visit to explore and learn about this somewhat tragic story. There's a lot of them in the Fallout universe. We're no strangers to that at this point. But yeah, so thanks for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed that and maybe even discovered something new, which is always a fun thing to do. It's why I love making these videos, because I learn new stuff about these games all the time from making these videos, and I think that's just brilliant. So this month's video essay is nearly done, so I just need to kind of finish the recording and editing. We're going to be talking about the creation of Nuka Cola Quantum and Project Cobalt and the LeapX program and everything, in a bit of detail of exactly what John Caleb Bradberton did and why he did it, and the harsh lessons that he learned from that as well. So we're going to take a bit of a deep dive into that. So I'm hoping that should be done by next week. And on Saturday, as I've mentioned before, I'm going to start doing a fun little kind of challenge run of Fallout 4. I've messed about with survival mode, but I haven't really properly sat down and played through it seriously. So I want to do that. And I want to try and keep as many people as possible alive. So we're going to do the Minutemen ending, and we're going to try for an ending where we keep the Brotherhood on side and the Railroad on side, and we basically get rid of the Institute but keep everybody else on our side, and complete the game with the Minutemen, get the Commonwealth built up so that everybody survives except for the Institute, because they're the bad guys. That's kind of the goal. So I'm going to be working out exactly what kind of character build I want to try out. I do want to try messing about with, like, we've obviously just picked up the Syringer rifle here. I think I would like to mess about with kind of crafting my own stuff, like using the syringes for different fights, creating my own explosives, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to have to look into exactly what kind of character build I want to use for that and try something maybe a wee bit different from my normal playstyle. So it promises to be a bit chaotic, and it should be entertaining. So hopefully you'll come back and join me for that on Saturday. After that, if you like what I do, please do subscribe. It does help a lot. And as always, I do love to hear your thoughts in the comments. So let me know. And I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.